From North London lights to the Mersey rain, to sky blue nights when the champions reign. Three voices rise when the whistle blows. Same beautiful game, different colors we chose. Football is life. Win, lose, and argue all night. From the terrace to the mic, football is life.
Hey folks, welcome to the latest episode of Football is Life. We're back, and we are all live from the USA. Across different states, I think, as well, right?
Yes.
So I'm in Illinois, I'm in Chicago. Billy, you're in Boston?
Yep.
Massachusetts, good. And you're at home, Mike, right? You're in
I am.
North Carolina.
Yep.
Lovely. There we go. Well, a US version this time. That'll be interesting. The good news is we had to wait a bit longer. There's more juice now to talk about. So, yeah, where are we going to start? Well, we're going to have to start. We've got a couple of absolute gooners on here. So we're going to have to start with the Community Shield. It's coming home. It's coming back. Whatever it is, all the shite chants. 3-0 win over Man City. Pulled their pants down. And this is at a time where, question marks over the fitness of some key players. Not a ton of transfer activity, although your new winger had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is what are you taking from that? Are we going over the edge in terms of we're the best team in the world, we're going to win the league, we're going to win everything, or do we take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt, given that most teams that win the Community Shield don't go on to win the league?
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly we're not talking about quadruples or quintuples when you add the Community Shield and all of that, but I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, that with all of the unknowns and change and just volatility around the league, the stability of a manager and a largely unchanged squad, even though some of them still working through that presented itself during the Community Shield, right? I think that you could say that just the stability that Arsenal had from last year versus new manager, and I'm sorry, he's not Pep. I think that was the first time Haaland kicked the ball and he had 7 touches since cruising on his yachts and stuff. So I don't think you can take so much away from it around the Arsenal piece. They certainly were the better team, but I think there were a lot of things around it as to why they were the better team that I don't think you can run off and go hog wild crazy. But it was good to see that, and that it didn't feel like they were taking giant steps backwards either. It feels like we're starting from a decent pace. Okay. Given that Saliba's still many weeks away, it sounds like. No idea when. It sounds like Timber's probably going to be back after the first international break. So very excited about the signing that we'll talk about later, because we just, there's some uncertainty around the back line just with fitness there. Saka came on late because everyone that was in the World Cup that went deep didn't play much. So, yeah.
Billy, I want to get your perspective on something. So I think, Mike, you made a good point. It's something I've been thinking about. You talk about stability. I'm thinking probably if I think about the team, if I think about the teams that are closest to Arsenal in terms of potential challengers to dethrone them, if you look at it, it's Man United probably have the
closest in the stability,
which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Michael Carrick's, not even been there a calendar year, right? So
he's been there for 2 cups of coffee.
So when you think about that, is that probably giving you more hope as an Arsenal fan than because again, I think like you say, Mike, it's not like you've made some real blockbuster signings. You definitely have a few injury concerns, but you're kind of looking around going, well, okay, look, there's always a risk. Chelsea could pop off, Liverpool could be better, Spurs there's always a chance, right? City might hit gear, but do you, especially after seeing City, Billy, do you feel now this is we could get an advantage here in the first 5-6 weeks and put a little bit of distance?
Yeah, especially in this match, I was impressed with our depth. I didn't really think we'd come out the way that we did. I didn't think we'd play as well as we did, and I thought we had a pretty decent decently difficult run of fixtures to start the season. Mm-hmm. And I feel a lot better about that run of fixtures now, having seen the way we played against City and knowing the players we still have to come in the squad. The stability that you're talking about is vitally important. And I was talking to my friend the other day, and I came to the realization that it's not quite 100%, but Arteta, with Pep leaving, is the longest serving Premier League manager. And if you add up the tenures of I wish I did the math. If you add up the tenures of every other manager, I mean, it's close to how long Arteta's been in the job.
Mad.
It's crazy.
Which is huge. It's huge. So I'm ready for the season to kick on, boys.
I love it.
There you
Okay, well, look, there we go. We have it, and we will we'll transition now to transfers, because the preseason, the off season is all about excitement around transfers. Like friendlies, and I mean the Community Shield. Obviously, it was nice to see a game of some meaning. But yes, we do want to talk about transfers because the window is not closed. I mean, it's not far from closing now. So, and I'm expecting, given the lack of activity, a bit of a flurry and some domino effects that we will talk a little bit about. But let's talk about people that have already come in the door since we last spoke, and we'll kind of go through that. I mean, you obviously saw the new Belgium, your winger, right?
He's Greek.
No, he's Greek.
Oh, Greek. Sorry, he came from
the Belgian league.
Belgian league, right? Okay, so that's right. He used to play for Coventry. Did he not play for
Bruges?
He
played for Norwich.
Yeah. Norwich. He played. Yeah, I remember my cousin's a Norwich fan. So, he had a good debut. 2 assists, I think. He's obviously very quick. But Arteta did point out that he is. He believes he's got the quality to pick out players, which is obviously the thing I think you look for in wide men. Is a lot of criticism comes with, like, I think Martinelli, a lot of criticism in terms of end product and that final pass or final finish. It looks like Arteta thinks he's got something there. So you got him in the door. Do you feel? I mean, feels like there must be some exits coming, whether it's Martinelli. I mean, Arteta denied that and said they should be in the squad. Maybe they'll hang on to them all. But what do you make of of him? And obviously Bruno Guimaraes made his debut as well. So what do you think of those two guys?
Go ahead, Billy.
I'm really excited for Solis. He's been touted as a output machine.
Yep. And
he's got, like, I think it's 19 consecutive games with goal contributions, dating back to his Brugge days, obviously.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he seems to be the best of Martinelli. He's quick, he's willing to go forwards, but he's also the best of Trossard. He's skillful on the ball, he can find a pass, he can finish. So I think he's a huge signing. And then Bruno Guimaraes, I mean, he's a world-class midfielder. He really is. He's a compliment to Bruno.
Is he
fine. He's a step below world-class, whatever.
Okay.
He's class, though.
He's definitely class. He's a great compliment to Rice, where I think either one can hold and make tackles and be the defensive guy and go forwards. On the other hand, so I think they're both great signings, and will definitely help with the squad rotation that will probably be needed this year to really challenge on all fronts.
Okay, Mike, are you similar?
Yeah, I'm excited about Solis for all the same reasons, and I think Guimaraes is the thing. He's been in the league, right? So there's no adjustment period for him. He knows what to expect, and it's just playing for a different team. And the same with Konsa now that's landing, right? So experience in league, I think those are huge elements. The big question mark for me around all this, though, is where does Eze play? Because the other thing is, if you look at how well Odegaard played in the World Cup.
Yep. He did look good. Yep.
And so if that Odegaard is coming back, like, where does Eze play?
Yeah, that Odegaard's not coming back, though. That's so.
Well, we'll see. But I mean,
I'm not. I don't. I think he's had one or maybe like half a good season. I don't think I've not seen enough from him. He's too risk averse. I don't know. I think you're right. Look, Eze, like, it is a bit of a kind of like a quandary.
Where does he play?
Kind of like,
yeah.
And he's too good not to play.
Right.
It's a bit like Jack Grealish at Man City. It's like, you're too good not to play. Like you have to go and play. Like, and again, I think both those players could play at a top club in England, like top 5-6 club. They're those caliber, in my opinion. I think it is interesting. I think, look, Konsa, of course, great to see we're going to be in for another thrilling Arsenal team, signing more defenders. It's
but you say that, but I mean, in your starting 4, 2 of them are not available. Timber and Saliba are your starting.
But you've
4.
got 40 other defenders.
That's all right. That's all right. And you saw how important rotation was late in the season.
So I just love to see. It's going to be another thrilling Arsenal. Going to be risk averse, trying to score from. Okay, wonderful. So another bore fest to watch. So that's good.
We scored no set piece goals.
Yeah,
I know, but it's a match doesn't matter, so it doesn't, But then the Konsa.
But it totally matters.
As soon as I saw Konsa, I was like, if you sign Barcola or you sign like that, I go, okay, here we go. We're going to kick on here. No, it's just revert to type. So that one does not, and I don't love that. So again,
it's depth. It's depth. Like
it's an uninspired signing to me. It's like he's an average Premier League centre half, in my opinion. I think he's an average player.
See what happens when he's paired with Gabriel and how average he is.
Well, we will see. And I'm excited to see it because that's what I think. I think he's got a mistake in him. I think he's okay, but I just think it's like, well, here we go again. I do look, Guimaraes to me he's not world class. He's a good Premier League midfielder. He is the biggest thing I love about Guimaraes that I think it brings to Arsenal, which I think is needed, is a bit more personality. I just think Odegaard's so beige. I think Declan Rice has got it a little bit, but Guimaraes has just got that. Like, to me, that's the kind of player. He's a personality, character that I think, and will give them actually a little bit. Like he can, like you said, he actually is really good both ways. I think he is dynamic. He's not special in either way, but he's good both ways. If that makes sense. Like, he's not a Bruno Fernandes going that way, and he's not like a world class number 6, but he can play both. And he's I think he's a really sensible, strong addition in a midfield where I think with Zubimendi, I wonder what it means for him. Was my biggest takeaway was it seems like that. I mean, Billy, you're a big fan, but it's but it is so he was a big kind of marquee signing, and it just seems he started so well, and it looks like he's fallen completely out of favor.
Well, I saw some stuff on social just before we kicked off that it sounds like there's some interest in Spain for his services.
I wouldn't be surprised. Steve Madrid came
Mourinho is saying that he'd like to go chase him. Yeah.
Well, that would make sense. Missing it because they're in the market. Mourinho would want a player I could see that happening, which is just feels a bit disappointing because it felt like he started pretty well. I don't know what
he did start well, but then he had a bunch of howlers in his locker as the season went on.
And then basically Billy was like, "This guy's terrible. Get him out of the club." He called Mikel and said, "Mikel, get him out of here." And he's gone right on time, Bruno. And here we go. So I guess you're feeling. What would you give a grade in terms of Arsenal's transfer window to date? Were you saying B plus, C?
B plus.
Yeah. Billy? Yeah. In terms of what you think is required?
I'll give it a B. I wanted to say A, but they didn't make an A grade signing. But I don't know if they needed an A grade signing.
Maybe they don't, like you say. Maybe they don't. Okay, well, let's look at other teams. Let's go. I think Chelsea's a really interesting one because obviously brand new manager Alonso. Yep. They signed Morgan Rogers, big A grade blockbuster signing, right? Big splash. They then make 2 other big blockbuster splashes: Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson, massive signings. I joke a bit, but it's a bit of a fact. The Hendo one I got, I was because they were after Xhaka, he didn't want to go, and again, he plays.
They wanted veteran leadership.
Well, 100%, and Jordan Henderson is a really good. You ask anyone that's played with him, like Bellingham and Rodgers before the World Cup, were just saying how phenomenal he is, in terms of setting standards. The Welbeck one, you've got. I think Nicholas Jackson is back with. I don't know if he's gone somewhere else, but he's been returned. But then you've got Liam Delap. You've got João Pedro, who's top 5 strikers in the league last year.
And mild, and he's the number 1 owned asset in fantasy right now.
So shocking, right? Yeah. And you bring in Danny Welbeck, it's a little bit. I'm happy for Welbeck because I think Welbeck, as much as he had a nonsense career at Man United and Arsenal, is almost one of those players that, with age, actually become a pretty reliable player for Brighton and a really good
He
servant.
can just manage the injuries. Yeah.
But just is it not like, see if you had to sign Calvert-Lewin or something, you gotta go, oh, okay, maybe like, are Chelsea going to be a bit of a joke once again? Because he's talking about, I'm going to wait, Alonso, I've got a plan for Cole Palmer and Morgan Rogers to play in the same team, right? I don't know that always works out. We'll see. But do we think could they become a bit of a laughingstock once again? They've signed the left back. They lost Cucurella to Real Madrid. They replaced him with another Spanish boy. Was it Sociedad? I can't remember where they got him from, but somewhere in Spain. They signed a left back. I don't know anything about him.
I don't know, but I mean, Chelsea has a history of they just buy everybody and don't use anyone or don't use them in the right way, or so I don't know what to expect. I mean, I think I fear Spurs more than Chelsea.
Yeah, well, they signed Lacroix from Crystal Palace. That was more of a sensible signing, right? Yeah. It was Barco, I think, is a left back or midfielder. I think that's the guy they signed. Is it Chavaria, the left wing back from Rayo Vallecano. So I'm kind of going through. There's a winger from Sporting Lisbon they signed. So they've gone for a bit of like surprisingly volume, but like obviously the Rodgers one's a big splash. But it just feels like. What do you think, Billy? Do you think that are they the team you think? Oh, I think they might surprise some people, or you're like they're not gonna push on.
I think they might surprise some people at how shit they are.
I love that.
Even with the new manager, I just don't think they have it in the locker. I have a hot take for you, Ross, if you want one.
I always love a hot take, Billy. There's not enough hot takes in this podcast.
There are 3 clubs in the traditional Big Six that got a new manager in the off season, and I think only one of them will come in the top 4.
Wow. So you're talking Man City, Liverpool, and Man United.
And Chelsea.
So you think one of those will finish in the top 4?
No. I'm not including United.
Okay. He was already there. Okay, so Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City. Which one's going to finish top 4?
I don't know.
Tell me. Just give me
a punt. I'm going to give you Tottenham.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That is a hot take. Look,
Maresca's shit.
I'm not a big Maresca. Massive question marks for me over Maresca. Man City transfer into Elliot Anderson, massive signing. Obviously losing Rodri. I heard that they're in for the young Moroccan boy. I think he's playing out in France, who had a good World Cup. I don't know if I thought it was initial contact. I don't know where that's going. People were saying Anderson was a Rodri replacement. I don't agree with that. I don't think that was the case. He was signed thinking Rodri could stay. But yeah, I mean, they've got a bit of stability in terms of the playing fraternity at City, right? But obviously Maresca's coming in, new philosophy. Didn't look great against Arsenal. Feels like it could take a little bit of time to get going there. I mean, maybe it is a matter of getting the players back from the World Cup and stuff. I don't know. So yeah, I think they're interesting. Liverpool is an interesting one as well in terms of transfer movement. Not as much. We've obviously, we got Araujo from Barcelona, a guy that's had some, I think, mental health problems. I don't know the whole story. It's a very bizarre story at Barcelona. I don't know how to feel. He looks like a specimen, but I just don't know how to feel about that. It could be great, or it could be this guy's a maniac and it's not going to work. Although a lot of hype, as usual, about Jeremy Jacquet, the young French centre-half, played one game and everyone's raving because he scored a goal and had a good game. And you're just like, guys, we need to calm down. We did this, I remember, with Naby Keita. He had, everyone was like, oh, every sideways pass, wow, this guy's the best midfielder ever. So I'm trying to temper that a little bit. What I would say about Liverpool, in terms, we obviously signed the young Spanish winger. I'm trying to think what other signings we've made now as well, boys. Keep me honest here. I'm going to have a quick look to make sure I don't missed anyone. Yes, here we go. Not much Munoz, and that's really it, actually. Yeah, I thought that, but massively linked with Barcola. That's an ongoing saga. We'll see. And I think one of the other boys from PSG, a midfielder. I think both of those getting them in, and maybe like an Adam Wharton. I think we need 3 signings like that to make me feel good. What I would say, though, having seen it, is going to be fun. like we're going to have fun. Like whether we win, I think it's going to be it could be a very up and down start for us, but it's going to be fun. Like I can see that already. I'm like, yep, I will watch it. We might gas after 60 minutes, but we will be electric to watch for 60 minutes, and I'll take that. So I'm optimistic in terms of like it's going to be better to watch. I think all Liverpool fans feel that. There's no expectation in terms of like title challenge or anything like that. Anything that comes is gravy on top. But yes, underwhelming. I would say I would honestly like a D for us in the transfer market. I think you have Man United. They're now, it looks like they're going to get Baleba from Brighton, which is I don't know how much they're going to pay for him, but it was a lot last season when they were going to get him. It was over 100 million. I don't know if that stands. Maybe it's less. They've obviously signed Yuri Tielemans as well. And there's Andre Santos, a young boy from Chelsea, I feel. Is that right? Mm-hmm. But I think somebody told me and said, like, there's a video I saw people saying, like, this is like 4 or 5 years ago. They were like, Man United is back 4 or 5 years ago. It was Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, and Diogo Dalot. And crazy. Man United's back 4 is still, like, that would terrify me as a Man United fan. As much as, they've got look at a young, decent goalie with some upside, whereas, like, Chelsea, their goalie, I think Chelsea at the back and their goalie are in trouble. But does that back 4, as a Man United fan, I mean, they've got Sesko, Cunha can play up there, feels, I mean, okay, Baleba to the midfield, definitely need that. Casemiro's gone. Mm-hmm. Tielemans is more like a Bruno Guimaraes type signing for them, like solid, good, sensible. But is that not a concern if you're Man United trying to fight on all fronts this year? No? That backline.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Maguire in your backline is,
I love Harry Maguire.
Billy wants some Arsenal. Arteta will sign him eventually. He always gets.
He's got a big forehead. I'd take him any day.
Big meathead, yeah.
We haven't had a meaty forehead since Giroud, so
big slab head, up front, pop up front of you.
I mean, the backline's it's concerning for sure, but I think Carrick has a way of making that team not play like shit, unlike the 9 previous managers that have come to that club since Fergie. So I don't hate it. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to have found some stability with them. Like, I mean, they were solid to close out the season. So
obviously they were only playing in one competition, and they could get found out really quickly if they don't have the squad depth. But it seems like they're trying to build it in midfield, and I'd be shocked if they either don't make a defensive signing before the window closes, or don't do something in January.
That's a good point about Chelsea too. Like, they could be horribly shit, but they also have no European football.
It's an advantage. I'll give you a hot take. I think Man United are going to regress. Unless there's something crazy happens. If Baleba is the last signing, I think fighting. I don't know. I don't see the picture there. I don't think that theirs is good. I think last year was a combination of factors and not having European football, and I just think that I'm not convinced by that team or Michael Carrick at this point in time. Praise for what he did last year for sure, but I just think this will be the acid test to see. So I don't think they are going to be. I think I'm not. I think they could drop out the top 4 quite easily. Tottenham, although Jed Spence, they let the hero of the World Cup England team. See you later, mate. Like, I think probably because his hair is quite. I saw a picture of him. He looked like some kind of porn star with this. I don't know what it was with his hair. I was like, that was the most bizarre picture, the signing picture for Inter Milan. Honestly, I thought, why is there like a porno on my Facebook? And it's like, oh no, Jed Spence signed for Inter Milan. It's a bizarre, bizarre signing, because like you feel like, I think Curtis Jones is going there, it looks like, as well, from Liverpool. He's been forcing that move. But Tottenham, I think, again, I think they could be. I really like their midfield. I really, really like it, and I think their backline is going to be massively improved with Senesi and Van Hecke there.
I think their backline is maybe the second best in the league now.
Yeah. I was going to say I was going to say us, but then I remember.
Well, and they won't have the mental lapses of a Christian Romero anymore either. They
won't, and I think Senesi and Van Hecke could complement each other nicely. Like obviously a bigger guy can win the headers, a guy can play. Senesi can really play football. Experience with Andy Robertson. Pedro Porro is like I've been high on him a lot. I would have loved Liverpool to sign him. I think he's a really good player. Both ways, like he is. He's aggressive. I love him as a player. I think he's brilliant. So that's pretty interesting in terms of like looking at the Spurs situation. But the only other team I thought was really worth mentioning. I mean, Coventry City have signed loads of players, which is they're obviously trying to speculate a little bit. But Aston Villa. Everyone's got a price, Mike, and I'm not seeing a ton coming
back. No, I agree. I was just thinking that, and I was just seeing that now there's talk of Ollie Watkins heading out to Saudi. So it's just like, holy cow! Like, I mean, they've been it's a seller's market right now if you're a Villa person, and that's crazy. So
you got to expect, Mike. There's going to be. I think they brought a boy in from Atletico Madrid on loan. You've got to expect a bit of an influx of activity at Aston Villa.
I mean, what are you going to do with all this money that you've just taken in, right? Like you've got to spend it.
They signed the goalie, but I thought Martinez was going to Juventus, but then they've signed Vicario on loan from Tottenham. So have we got any clarity on Martinez's future? Because that was like he's going to Juventus. Then it was like, no, they're going to sign Vicario on loan from Tottenham.
They've got the other boy too, right? The Japanese international.
Yeah, they signed him. Yeah, so that means Martinez is going, right? So he's wanted out for over a year, but it was meant to be Juventus. I don't understand why Juve would, if they're going to sign Martinez, they're not taking Vicario on loan, because there's no point in loaning Vicario to sit on their bench when he can just sit. Like, I mean, that wouldn't make sense. So I think that's one to watch. Is like, Man United were interested in Martinez last summer. Apparently, does that become a thing? It feels like he is on his way out. Does he go to Spain? Let's see what happens. But Villa fans, Steve Doyle, obviously a good friend, has been on the podcast, massive Villa fan, has to be concerned in terms of like, having two fantastic seasons. Unai Emery seems to always find a way, but you've got to feel like whether it's loans, they've got to get some bodies in that building. And it feels like that feels troublesome now with Konsa going. Who do they bring in, right?
No Konsa, no Morgan Rogers, no Tielemans, possibly Ollie Watkins. I mean, that's like, holy cow. That is your spine, right? Yeah. I mean, geez.
Yes, I did read something. I don't know if it's confirmed. I did read something at League News that they may be allowing conversations between referees and players to be the audio to be able to be heard, like in rugby, where you can hear the audio. And I was like, wow. I was like, that would be like beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
All beeped out. Like, yeah.
You're going to run out of delay.
So one to look out for and interested. But let's switch. I think the main topic now is really got to be fantasy. Okay, Mike, this is the year you're going to get toppled. He's not had as much time to prepare.
I have not.
But what I do want to do is look. There's lots of stuff you see out there. Lots of people giving lots of different advice.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Mike is the guy, right? He knows.
Normally.
Dude, like honestly, I'd say your record, like any of these chumps out there, you're gonna smoke them, right? Okay, I'm here for the vibe. I'm the instinctive, intuitive guy, and Billy's there for like level-headedness. So between the three of us, like you're gonna get all of the best.
Just
advice.
Don't ask Billy who to captain.
Yeah, that's fine.
He will always go differential on a captain.
But I did a bit of research, so again, things you want to be looking out for. Look, this is to me such a critical time because I always say the same thing. If you start badly,
yes,
you start chasing. You use chips early, like it only leads to bad things, right? So this is to me is like
using chips early without a plan reactively to try to catch up.
That's my point, Mike. And I think the problem is if you get behind, right? And let's say, for example, it's happened to me. I don't have Haaland. First 3 weeks, he's bagging 2 hat tricks. He's been captained. The problem is you have to understand it's a long season, right? Yeah. So you should not be panicking in the first 3 to 5 weeks.
You don't win it in week 1.
No, there's transfers to be done. I think the key is the things you got to look at. To me, the things if I just think what's helpful in terms of we're not here to tell you this is the starting 11 that you should have. These are the exact players. It's things you should be factoring into your decision making, and it really is about to me at this point mitigating your risk to a degree, right? And also looking at who are the players that you kind of know they are pretty reliably going to be producing enough points to make sure that even if you don't start really fast, you're not going to be that cut off or far behind when you start to panic. So the first thing is the strength of the fixtures, right? Is it this that will dictate more, to me, more indicator of where you should have your players in the first. And you got to look at like at least a 3-week horizon, in my opinion, for the start of the season, so you're not doing all these transfers. Even though yes, players don't come back fully fit, but like Arsenal home to Coventry, like good example. You kind of go a home game against a newly promoted team. Odds are, like the data would tell you, like that's going to be favourable. However, I did some research. The teams that have the best and most favourable first 3 weeks: Manchester City, Manchester United, Brentford, Everton, Leeds, and Liverpool. The reason Arsenal aren't in there is because I think they have Chelsea and they go to...
They have Villa and Chelsea in weeks 2 and 3.
That's right. So they're not in there.
But again, Villa is maybe not as tough as we thought.
I was going to say, I think Arsenal get an exemption where you kind of go, look, they are the champions. They maybe have the most stability. I think it's just like the problem with Arsenal is Saka going to start games, right? So you have to think about in the Arsenal team, like I think if Calafiori plays, he's a really, really good pick this year if you don't want to pay the premium for Gabriel, because I think he should play, but you've got to just be monitoring that situation in terms of like where the goals. Kai Havertz, I prefer as an attacking option. I feel he's going to start those games probably because Arteta loves him, right? I feel he loves him. So I feel you can factor Arsenal, but they're the teams that I've been looking at. And, part of my strategy is, right, making sure I've got at least one player, if not two players from those teams to spread my risk. Like Bruno Fernandes is a standout pick. Yeah. He is the most expensive midfielder. He's not the Salah pricing. I think he's 12 million.
He's 12, yeah.
But you're just going to go, they've got decent fixtures. He is just so proven in the league. That feels like a relatively
I agree. I think he's a no-brainer. And
then City to me is like, it's Haaland, or you go like, maybe you go Semenyo, O'Reilly, or there's different ways to kind of solve for the Man City piece. But I think you do want something of that, even though they didn't look great. I just think, like, again, their first 3 fixtures, they're at home to Bournemouth, they away at Palace, and at home to Coventry. So pretty favourable.
Bournemouth won't be a pushover.
What's that?
I said I don't think Bournemouth will be a pushover. I think that the thing about City is there's a lot of talk right now about a couple of things chip-wise. One is a lot of people are talking about a bench boost game week 1 or 2.
Yep.
And doing that with an expectation of an early wild card, like week 3, week 4. And then the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that there is a full-on 3-week international break between game weeks 5 and 6. A lot of things can happen in 3 weeks. Yep. A lot of things can happen through.
So see, to be honest, man, that's why I think, like, knowing that, my strategy is I don't want to use my wild card before then.
If you can help it, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm trying to look at, and I go, if I think of the ordering, like Man City, Man United, get some attacking assets. I think Liverpool, I think, look, Newcastle away at first, it's hard to know that, but game week 2, game week 3 are good. Yeah. I do think the way we're going to play attacking wise, I think that you can. I'm definitely buying in. So I'm looking like 2 players from each of those 3 teams.
Who are you looking at? Because everyone and their mother was on Szoboszlai and Wirtz.
Yeah.
And then seeing how some of the preseason games have gone, they're all like rats from a sinking ship on Wirtz right now, and they're not so hot on Szoboszlai. I feel like he's a penalty away from being the guy just because he'll be on penalties now. But like, who are you looking at?
So I am looking. I think Milos Kerkez is an option because he's played. If we get the Milos Kerkez that played under Iraola before, he's one that again can provide assists. So he's one to. And again, I'm not suggesting that like that's a slam dunk. I think in terms of the midfield, I actually look at Isak. I actually look at the strikers and go, I feel like Isak, given the price that he is, I think he's going to play every game. I think he'll play all the games.
He certainly had some rest.
Yeah, and he's a proven finisher in the league. So I actually go Isak, and then I'm torn between exactly that. Is it Szoboszlai or Wirtz? And I feel like Szoboszlai is like the safer bet because he's on corner. Like but I think Wirtz does have that ability to explode. So I think if I have Isak, I'd probably go Szoboszlai.
So who's your front 3?
So front 3, I've got João Pedro.
Yeah.
Isak.
Yeah.
and Calvert-Lewin just now. I've not
Okay.
decided.
All right.
But
So, all right. I was going to say, like, you can't have Haaland. Like, there's no way
No.
if you're going to do Bruno, you can't have Haaland and Isak and not have like 4.0
and based upon how
everywhere else.
Haaland look and where he is in his preseason,
Yes.
this
is the thing. A lot of people are talking about bringing him in game week 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I'm. So, and again, I've got Bruno. I actually think, how do you put? Is it Solis? I actually think he's a great pick for. So in Arsenal, I think Arteta's high on him.
Yep.
I think he's a really solid pick. I was looking at Saka, but I'm like, is he going to start?
I don't think he's going. I don't know that he's going to start week 1.
Exactly. And then the other thing is that I do like Joe Pedro. Obviously, Rodgers is one that's interesting. I like Semenyo and O'Reilly as a double for Man City. I think that they're probably where I'm going to go with Man City. And Pedro Porro, I'm picking up 100% as well as Calafiori. But I think they're great.
I think of the back 4 right now, if you're not going to spend $8 million on Gabriel, Calafiori is absolutely the sexy pick. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the back line. Like now that Conce is there, like what happens with Mascaro? Like it's
hard to know, mate.
There's going to be some rotation in that middle bit, and they made some rule changes around the DEFCON and the bonus point structure for goalies and stuff as well. So, yeah, I agree on the Calafiori front for sure. And
then Man United, I think Lamens is a great pickup early.
Could be.
As a goalie, I think that he's going to be worked out, but I think he's a good goal. I think he's a potential pick. I think you can look at Kinski at Spurs.
Yeah, Kinski for sure. Yeah,
he's cheap, and I think they're going to be better at the back. So, I don't think paying the premium for Gabriel or David Raya right now is worth it. I think
not yet. I mean, think Gabriel, once we build some team value, maybe. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, and then the other thing I want to point out. Again, something that a lot of people, and I haven't heard anyone, follow all these things talking about this, is what they do every year. There's a sneaky thing where they change players' positions. This is something to look out for. So a great example of this is, and again, this could be positive or negative in terms of like you go, okay, now that player's position has changed, that means there's no way I'm going to pick them. Whereas the opposite can be true, right? So for example, Junior Krupi has moved from forward to midfielder. Now his price is up 7.5. He is injured at the moment. But he's going to what that means is he's going to gain an extra point per goal, clean sheet points. So that's a positive move. So that's something. If Krupi comes back and he looks as good, he's a midfielder. I think he's 7.5 million, but that's like a positive indicator versus like Patrick Dorgu at Man United, who I would have absolutely picked him up, has been moved into midfield because he played left wing.
And there's just too many choices in midfield.
And again, you don't get the defensive. There's a defensive point thing that you're not going to get. And then there's some other ones. Omar Marmoush at Man City, midfielder, they moved to a forward now. Right? So have a look at this.
Choose him instead of Haaland, right?
Have a look at this. Another positive one, like Ryan Sessegnon at Fulham. I don't know how Fulham are going to look, but he is a good player if he's fit. He's been moved from midfielder to defender, right? So he's quite offensive, right, in that team. So again, and I think it's Weaver at Brighton has moved midfield to defence. I'm trying to see any other. Jorginho Rutter at Brighton moved midfield to forward. So again, factor that in terms of the point return may not be quite as high. Miles Lewis Skelly been moved from a defender to midfielder. He was one I was looking at, but now he's moved to. You kind of go, oh, do I want to pick him up as a midfielder? So they're things to kind of keep an eye on as well, because like that kind of goes unnoticed, and like some of these players can be worth. Oh yeah, actually, I'm gonna pick that guy up now because like I think Krupi is an interesting one, but he is unfortunately out injured just now. So we'll see. Okay, what about any other fantasy advice or like players you're high on or players you're like that avoid like the plague or teams?
Well, so other players that I'm looking at right now. Trying to figure out that second. If I'm going to go with the United attacker, I feel like Mbeumo is another example of someone he's a midfielder, but he's going to play number 9, right? Yeah. So like you get he could be a bonus magnet for scoring, but I don't know. I'm not sure, but he's in the team right now. Pascal Gross I like a lot just because he's a good cheap enabler, and he's an assist magnet, and he's involved in the play quite a bit, so he's someone I'm looking at. But yeah, I think for me it's the fixture swings in 3 are where I'm trying to like save up some transfers if I can get through the first couple of weeks without any injuries and crisis and have 2 or 3 transfers in the bank to navigate before that long international break with an expectation that I might be wild carding after it is kind of what I'm looking at right now. My front three right now is it's like the template is João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin, and Haaland. And so I'm sitting on that, but and if you look at game one,
Fernandes
what's that?
midfield. Bruno Fernandes.
I have Bruno Fernandes in the midfield as well. Yeah. So my midfield right now is Pascal Gross, Szoboszlai, Bruno Fernandes, and Buemo and Solis. Not horrible, but it's like the structure I'm good with. It's the one or two, at the price point, which one do I go with? But I could see myself maybe not starting with Haaland to add another 5.5 million defender from Arsenal in the back, in addition to Calafiori. We'll see. I don't know. I need to spend a lot more time with it.
Yeah, and listen, there'll always be somebody from one of the newly promoted teams that's going to be a pick. So that's what you want to try and assess early and try and make sure you're in early when that player, because almost nobody will have them.
Maramovic, or however you pronounce his name.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, I think, unless you want to go and do a bunch of research and stuff like that, like you can do that, and you watch a bunch of the games and stuff like that. There's a lot. I think it's more like it's really hard to pick that player out right now.
Yeah,
I think that the sensible strategy is spread the risk around. Like I said, I've got a couple from Arsenal, that's what I'm doing. So I can then, if I need to make a move week 2 or 3, one transfer, I can go, okay, that they're looking better or worse. I can move one guy out, bring a guy in. I think that's what you want to navigate to, say, just to get to week 3. That's exactly what I'm planning, is get to week 3 and then I can reassess, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Billy, what are you thinking fantasy wise, mate? Are you going I think that the Haaland decision to me is such a critical one, because that's one that can really, there's risk in that, because the fixtures are pretty kind and he could pop off at any moment.
And he does every week 1. Like, look at his stats for the first 2 weeks. Like, he starts house on fire every year.
Yeah. What do you think, Billy?
Yeah, I have him and Fernandes right now, and I have been teetering on the edge of dropped one of them to start the year, and it's just which one to facilitate.
Billy, so I think what you've done is, like, Mike talk the blueprint. Like, you can look online and they'll tell you that there is consensus driven. To me, Haaland, Fernandes doubling up on them is like the low risk move, and just in terms of like going, right, you know what, like there's a higher risk they'll pop off than anyone else. It's always the same though. I always try, me, I like a bit of spice. I think with the Haaland having less of a break, and there's something I don't know about Liverpool that excites me in terms of like how attacking we're going to be. But I just have to believe there's goals. And when I look across Liverpool, now look, if he stays, Cody Gakpo, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. He just scores goals though. Like he does. You
think he's going to stay?
I don't know. There's talk of Tottenham. I don't know. But my point is, if he stays, and he will play, like he will start on that left side, I'm sure of it, right? If he stays and he's going to be there, like the transfer will pass.
He's going to get the minutes for sure. He's absolutely
but like he just finds a way. Like he just does find a way to score goals. So there's an element of like budget, but I have to believe. Maybe it's part of me being hopeful as a Liverpool fan, but I just think Isak could be. I always try and look for the problem is you always will have this player, and let's say it could be Isak this year, that will be moderately priced, that can pop early, and then that jumps quite quickly. Okay, yeah. And if you don't get in quick enough, you pay a bit of a premium. So that's kind of where I try and look at and go, right. And again, look, there's an element of like your appetite for risk. I just think the way Liverpool have played preseason, look, I think we'll concede as well. So I think part of that means you have to go, you have to go for it. And I think I'm not, I think we will concede goals, but I do think we'll score goals. And I think we're going to play very front-footed. And I think if chances fall, I think Isak's the best finisher in the team. And he's one that you just kind of go, again, we've not seen it for a while.
There's nothing but upside for him from last year. Like, he can only go up from last year.
You would think so. And like you say, Veers, I don't know, has not looked, again, I need to see how that all plays out. So I think Szoboszlai, I like that. I think Kirkes is a little bit, I may not end up landing with the 3 of them. I'll probably end up with 2. Mm-hmm. But, again, I do like that. And I think that's a big decision for people. Because I look at the other forwards. I think Isak, I'm trying to think who else. If you're taking Haaland out, you probably want to go with Isak.
That would be the only logical choice if you're going to, just to get close to when you need to get to Haaland. Like, you can't have 3 $6 million forward
Exactly.
without
Yeah,
making 5 transfers to get to him. So
exactly.
you have to have someone that's at least 9 million.
Yeah, and that allows you to to look at the midfield, and maybe go someone, be a little bit more speculative.
It's still going to be 3 transfers to get to him.
Yeah, but I think I'm looking at the week 3 again. I'm right now. I might panic and change my mind last minute, but right now I'm banking on him not having as hot a start. I think Man City are a little bit in flux, and I think Doku's injured. I think.
He's out. Yep, no, he will not start. Yep.
So I'm kind of like I don't know that I see that Elliot Anderson's coming in. Obviously, Rodri's left. Yeah, I feel again. I get not to say he could score a barrel load of goals against these teams because the fixtures are favourable, but yeah, I do think the Isak Haaland one is probably the biggest decision. I think Bruno Fernandes has to be in your team,
100%.
And then the Gabriel one, I think, that's another big talking point at 8 million. You've got to believe, you've got to take such a leap with him, Mike. Like you see, it's a big leap of faith in terms of the output goal wise is going to be there again. In my opinion, teams
there's a budget version of him in Virgil.
Yes, and I think again the challenge is with Gabriel, it's such a known threat now. So you kind of teams surely have to start to be smart enough and adjust to it, and that would also might lead me to honestly that's what Kai Havertz scores quite a lot in the air. So if Gabriel's not scoring the goals from corners, Arsenal are still going to they have dynamic setups for these corners, and who's the next guy? Is it Konsa? Is it? I mean, I think Havertz. Havertz is good in the air, Havertz. So I think that's something that you can look at, and I do think having. Yeah, I think that the Arsenal new boy, the winger, is going to be so heavily owned.
I think he's for me right now. Until we know about Saka's fitness and all that, I agree. I think the only attacking Arsenal asset that makes sense is Solis.
Could you argue Odegaard, given the way he's looked, Billy? Could you argue?
I think you could argue it, but I don't think he's going to be in the position on the pitch to earn you as many points as Solis is.
Yeah, I mean, and he's priced the same as Solis.
Yeah. Interesting. Want to look out for him. It could be early season.
I think he was 8 million last year.
Yeah, I think Odegaard could be one in terms of, I don't know if I buy into I think over the net of a whole season, I don't like him. But I think in this initial, you look at players that look like they're right. He looks sharp and ready. Yeah. So I do look at that in the preseason. What players are coming in that I think are sharp versus other players that I think maybe aren't quite up to speed yet. So I think he's one that looks sharp that you could look at, given that especially that home fixture, he was in and around involved in everything.
Yeah, he was. He looked really good. I mean, the whole team looked. I mean, they looked stable.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look at the first round of fixtures. So we've got the Friday night, the opener. We've got the Gunners at home to Coventry. So again, not much to talk about there. I think hard to even just imagine. I mean, look, you can say it's a good time to catch them, of course. But if it was away, I would think differently. But I just think there's only one outcome, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be an Arsenal win, probably a clean sheet.
That's the only thing I was just going to say in terms of the budget factor of a Virgil to Gabriel is that the difference is clean sheets.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Let's look at the Saturday slate. Saturday we've got Hull Man United, boring. All at Bernie. Everton Palace, not great. Ipswich Sunderland, Nottingham Leeds, and Brentford Tottenham. Again, I'm not massively excited by any of those games.
Brentford Spurs might be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Spurs, and you're right. It's at Brentford, so that's probably the pick of the game, and it is the late game on Saturday. Yep. And you've got Brighton Villa, Man City Bournemouth, and then Newcastle Liverpool. And then Monday night we've got Fulham Chelsea, which London derby. But I think Newcastle Liverpool probably the standout fixture. Newcastle team and very much in a bit of turmoil like Aston Villa to a degree. Selling.
Yeah, I mean 2 big sales, right?
And so it'll be the manager's left, new manager in there as well. Liverpool obviously new manager influx, not had the transfer window we'd have hoped. So that could be is going to be an interesting look at both those teams, seeing what this Newcastle manager is all about, and seeing what this new Liverpool looks like.
This smacks to me of an entire game week of just cagey feeling out.
Yeah, I actually think there's going to be a lot of. I think it could be a lot of from a betting perspective.
Yeah,
this is a week where you could get some good value picks. Where I can see when I look at those games, I can see some surprises. honestly, like I really do think that. I'm trying to look now, like, you know, even Hull Man United, you're gonna go, it's at Hull, like Brentford, Tottenham. I mean, yeah, the Sundays, like Brighton Villa. I mean, Brighton at home, you probably fancy Brighton, right?
I would think so. Yeah. Especially with what they've done in terms of transferring out, for sure.
Yeah, I just think there's no game I look at bar the Arsenal game where I go, I'm probably Man City or at home against Sport. But I think a lot of those games could go either way. They really could.
You could, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Well, listen, we've got the return of Premier League football.
Thank God.
What we've been waiting for. We love it, right?
We do.
So yeah, it's finally here. We finally get to see the teams. We've got another, another 10, 11 days of the transfer window, end of August, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we still got that. So still plenty of business to be done. So again, the main thing is Friday night is the first game. Get your fantasy team sorted before Friday and allow yourself Friday during the day to make any luck because you've got as many free changes as you want. Make sure you do that. Keep a close eye. There is, what's the thing that I was... if you want something I was going to say to people that is super helpful, it is called Lazy FPL. You can follow them for free. They just give you a summary every week of like, here's the injuries. So just like the high level, see for people that aren't like don't want to get super involved, don't want to be like a geek like Mike and just analyze the shit out of every data point, right? And win the league every year. It's just a way to make sure you don't have a guy in your team that's injured or like, you know, so they feed you in with all the kind of high level news that you need. Players that are most transferred in, transferred out, ownership, those types of things. It doesn't cost anything, and I would say it's pretty helpful if you're a lazy fantasy league manager, like a lot of people in my leagues are, which is why I usually kick their asses, which is great. So, my brother being the most guilty party. So
the other thing just to be aware of that this year that they've added to the FPL site, so you don't need to use subscriptions to other things, is they've added the indicator of, like, it's not a guarantee, but the indicator of likely to price change up or down is now part of the features of the website. So something to keep an eye out to your point earlier of, you know, you don't want to find yourself having to pay 0.3, 0.4 more than you could have if you knew that someone was going up in price and just getting ahead of some of those price rises they transfer. So that the website's added a few more things. And for the first time, how long have we been bitching about this? Real-time updates to points in mini leagues this year. Finally.
Honestly, like, I mean, just like in the dark ages, Mike. Yeah, they also added when you pick your team, you can answer some questions and it'll pick your team for you. So it's almost like a prompter, and I was like, no. So like, but again,
too much AI.
So Richie, my brother, you should probably do that, mate, because you finish bottom every year. You should just probably just accept the robots no more, right? And then just, you know, like, honestly, like literally just get the lazy FPL email, build an AI agent to read that, and then update your team accordingly, and you'll probably finish second bottom. So good. Like, yeah. But yes, listen, good to chat, lads. The next time we chat, this is exciting, we will have Premier League action to reflect upon, analyze, overreact, underreact, all of the above. So looking forward to that one. And we'll leave it there, I think, boys. So good to see you, and thanks to everyone for listening.
From the terrace to the mic.